Can two people have the exact same experience and yet both people look at the same experience very differently? Can two people have the same experience and come out of it with different thoughts, different beliefs from it? So what's up, everyone? Today I am going to be talking to you about beliefs and about confirmation bias. This is Unconscious Communication Secrets, and we are live just before 5 today. And I'm very excited because today I'm going to be talking to you about this. You know, when you get this concept that I'm going to be talking about today, you're going to understand why people like react the way they do in certain situations, and why they deduce different things. Cherry, what's up? Yes, interpretations completely. Yeah, like how have you been in these situations and you're like, how did you think this from what just happened? And you're like, what's going on? And so I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit of that and what causes that. And ultimately, I'm going to be talking about something called beliefs and confirmation bias. Okay. And you got to think of it as the filters through which we look at the world through. All right. So let me give you a very quick metaphor, right? Imagine there's a beach, and on the beach there's like a whole bunch of diamonds, right? Like kind of buried over there, etc. But you take a metal detector, and with this metal detector you go around, you're looking, and you're like, at the end you're like, man, there's nothing valuable on this beach. Just because you didn't pick it up with the metal detector, because the metal detector looks for something specific. It's designed to look for something specific. So you'll find metal. It doesn't mean that the diamonds aren't there. All right. So and you'll just be like, you know what, this beach is just full of cans, because your metal detector is actually driving you towards metal. So you find a bunch of cans and you're like, all this beach has is cans. Well, that's what you were looking for. That's what your metal detector, that's what the filter was creating, that will help you to go through. Now, a confirmation bias is literally is when you see a world through a filter, and that lets you know what, yes, I was right. Like, this is what I want to be right, so it becomes right. And now we do this so many times in our life. So I want you to imagine, like, for example, you're watching football, and you've probably seen this. Like, if you are a supporter of a team in football, and you're sitting next to someone that supports the different team, and you're watching the same game, and yet everybody that supports this team, something happens and you go, come on, that was offside, and the other person's like, no it wasn't, and but you both watch the same game, because you have a bias, you have a filter that you want this to be right, you are looking at the world through that filter, right? And you'll see it, any sports game, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. When there's a little bit of a dispute, all the fans of one team will say one thing, and all the fans of another team will say something different. But they've watched the same game. What makes the difference? Why is it that all the fans of this team believe one thing and all the fans of this team believe another thing? It's because of the filter that we look at the world through. It's our bias, our confirmation bias. We like this team, so we want it to be right. We want the decision to be in our favor. And so we will think through things so that the decision is in our favor, right? And the same thing when it comes to news, all right? News is biased. It doesn't, like, news around the world, if they just reported it like as it should be, you know, some people wouldn't watch. Like, I'll give you an example. Like if two countries are at war, guess what? The news in one country is going to report it one way, and the news in another country is going to report it in a different way. Why? Because there's a bias. If let's say North Korea and the US, right? They are going to report the news. US is going to report the news about North Korea very differently than North Korea is going to report it about the US. It's a confirmation bias. If North Korea decides to report it maybe in a way that's very similar to what the US is doing, the people in North Korea would get upset. If the US decided to report things the way that North Korea reported, then people in the US would be upset, right? I'm just, there's so many different examples of different countries. I'm not going to go into this because it's dangerous territory, politics. Let's stay away from that. But you can see that news has to be biased because it understands that people have filters. And so it tells you the news through the filters that typically their audience wants to hear that news in. And that's why Fox News will be very different to CNN, which is very different to BBC, which is very different to Al Jazeera, which is very different to God knows what else, right? Like they report them based on the audience because they know that their audience wants to listen to the news through a certain filter. Okay. Now, also in the same front, imagine like we have filters through our lives that we say, for example, 2020 is the worst year. You'll hear that everywhere, right? Like a lot of people say, man, 2020, this year is like, can this year get any worse? Can this happen to 20? Like, if you believe that 2020 is like a really terrible year, then yeah, it's then all the filters that are going to show you for the rest of the year, all your filters are going to be set to seeing what else can go wrong, right? However, for me, and I'm talking from personal experience, like I actually believe that 2020 has been a challenge, but it's the challenge that has allowed me to grow the most, right? I have grown more in this year than any other year. And so I look at it as a growth year, right? Now, so your filters will allow you to, so when I start to look at if something else comes up, I'm like, man, this is going to make me grow to another level. Like this is really going to push me to become better. So if you look at it through that, then you're just going to find ways to become better versus, I'm trying to find ways to become better, etc. Another filter that a lot of people have is like, so some women might say all men are, I'm gonna use the word trash. I'm gonna use the word trash. But if you have that filter, then you'll just find all the wrong things that are with men, and you won't start looking for the right things. If you think that all Arabs are late, then you're going to find always confirmation bias versus finding the opposites, right? So Ruhi's saying, yeah, for me too, it's been a very progressive year. Yeah, completely. I mean, you got to look at it. What are your filters? I'm not telling you what to believe or not to believe, but I'm trying to help you to understand how your filters, how your beliefs of certain things allow you to interpret the world in different ways, and how that affects your decision making, your beliefs. Now, I'll give you a very quick example, a very quick story, and how I learned this. I have haters. I have some big haters in my life, and so when I was working, especially in my career, and perhaps, well, maybe basically because I wasn't meant to be in a technical field, I don't know. But I've had haters throughout my life and throughout my career. And haters basically, when someone doesn't like you, you could do the greatest thing. And what would happen is, you do something that you think, oh my God, that's amazing. And then some people would be like, man, can you believe what this guy did? This guy went and he did this thing, and like, well, who does he think he is? Da 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 da. And it doesn't matter what I did. When I did a good thing, it would be looked at badly. When I did a bad thing, it was looked at badly. And then the same thing happened in my department because, well, into corporate politics. When one department is against another department, all of a sudden the whole department. So when the other guys started doing something, they would be in a meeting and the person would say said something like, oh, you know what, let's, it's something that we can do a little bit later. And then after the meeting, some guys would come out and they'd go, you know what, I can't believe this person. They said, and I'm going to go and I'm going to do it later. Who do they think they are? They think they're so much better than everyone else. Da, 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 da. And you basically take something simple, but because you hate someone so much, they turned it around. And people were doing that to me. And I was like, man, so this is, and I started to understand that, like, it doesn't matter what I do. Sometimes if someone has decided that they're not going to like me, they've got a filter, they've got a confirmation bias, and whatever I do, whatever I say, I guarantee you, if they see my like videos now, they'll be like, oh, this guy is like, who does he think he is? He's so like whatever. Da, da, da. Well, you know what? First of all, I don't really care what you think anymore. So, but like, they have a confirmation bias. They think I'm one way, and whatever I do, they will use whatever I do to confirm their thought, their beliefs. So why is it important? Well, if you believe, you can use it, number one, for yourself. If you truly believe that every day that you're getting better and better, and every day that you're improving, you'll find ways to confirm that. And when you find ways to confirm that, you encourage yourself to get better and better and better. If you believe that everything is really shit right now, everything is really bad right now, well, you're going to find ways to confirm it more and more, and you're going to start feeling worse and worse and down and down and down. And right now, like, yes, fine, we've had challenges, etc. But what happens next, right? If you've got this confirmation bias, you can make things better or you can make things worse. For example, for yourself. But also you'll start to understand other people and why they make the decisions that they want to make. So I'm going to talk to you about a few different types of beliefs so that you can understand people and yourself at another level. So we're going to talk about some different types of beliefs. The first type of belief is something we call global belief. A global belief is all men are, all women are, all people are. Time is short, time is precious, time is abundant. You know, like if you believe that time is short versus someone that thinks that time is abundant, you'll look at the world very differently. If you believe that all people are good versus someone that thinks that all people are liars, you will interact through the world very differently, right? And so understanding a person's global beliefs, that means like that applies to everything, right? So global beliefs, that's the first type of belief. Number one, global belief. The second type of belief is something we call identity belief. So I am a problem solver. I am confident. I am very happy that Lorraine has come online. What's up, Lorraine? So good, man. It has been way too long. You have just put a big, big smile on my face, Lorraine. Thank you. It's so good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, thank you so much. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Lorraine. So identity. So what do you believe about yourself? Like, I am a problem solver. I am a happy person generally, or I am depressed, or I am an anxious person, or I am stressed. I am always stressed. If you believe those things about yourself, then you'll start to find confirmation bias. So you'll start to look at the world through a filter that allows you to to find proof for everything that you think. So what do you, and I'm not telling you it's right or wrong, but just find out what are you saying about yourself? How would you describe yourself? Job titles are a big thing because they create an identity. I'm an engineer is an identity. So what's an identity, right? So I am flexible. Your vehicle belief. So what's a vehicle? A vehicle is something that you use in order to give you something else. So it's a means to a method. So a vehicle could be my job is my job is a vehicle, right? Or your work is a vehicle. My job gives me certainty, or my job gives me security. That's what you believe about your job, right? It's how do you get certainty? How do you get security? Through your job. That's what you believe about your job, right? My relationship gives me stability. What do you believe about what you're using in order to get something? And then your values, another type of, like, what do you value in your life? Like, those are like, my family is the most important thing to me. That's a value belief, right? That's saying that this is the most important to me. That is a belief about what is valuable to you. Another one is rules. So what do I mean by rules? When you say, so different people say love is important, but to one person, how do they know that they're loved? One person will be like, you know what? I know that I am loved when my partner goes and buys me loads of different things. That to me is love, right? That is their rule for love. Another person will be like, I know my partner loves me when they just come and they hold me and they hug me every day. If they do that, I know that they love me. That is their rule for love. Another person will just be like, look, I know that I am loved if the person just says to me every once in a while, look, I really love you and I care about you. And they can go off and do all the work they want to do. They can be away from the house. If they just say that to me, then I know that I'm loved. So different people have different rules for the same feeling, for the same emotion. And so that is a big thing. So that's rules. And then finally, situation specific beliefs. So I believe that because when I'm working out, if someone pushes me beyond what I'm capable of, I know that they want me to get a result. That's a situation specific belief. That's to do with my workout. That's to do with my kind of situation, right? That's what I believe in that situation. So a situation specific belief. Again, when you understand all these different types of beliefs, you can understand how a person thinks, why they are making their decision-making process, why you should care, or sometimes you should just give up on a person and you know that they're not going to take action in the way that you want to take action, or believe the things that you want them to believe, because they have this very specific belief that they're not going to change, right? So when you understand the belief, you can either work with it or break it to get the relief. So I'm not going to go into that into too much detail, but right now, all I want you to understand is that understanding a person's beliefs is so powerful when it comes to communication and it comes to persuasion and influence. Because when you understand their beliefs, then you can either work with those beliefs and look at the world and communicate through that filter that you know that they're looking at the world through, or you can break that belief in order to get the relief, and in order to get the sale, and in order to get people to take action. So that's our session for today. This is one of the concepts we go into in a bit more detail in NLP. If you're interested, on Wednesday we have a webinar, uaenlp.com. Go and register. Feel free to find out more about NLP. But otherwise, if you have not already, please do subscribe to my channel. at youtube.com/Munir. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I will see you on another video very, very, very soon. Peace out, one love, and I'll see you guys on another video real soon. Bye now.